Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2 from the near $500,000 prize pool WESG World Electronic Sports Games. I'm 95% sure that's the acronym. Tournament. We have the playoffs. Somebody you should all know. One of the best Terrans in the world. His name a little ironic because of how mechanical and robotic sometimes both his play and face seems. Thank you, Walrus Cow. It's impractical. Walruses and cows don't mix. It's innovation. The Korean Terran player, sometimes considered the best until Maru comes and claims the throne. But in the top left, you may know of him, especially if you're from the European region. Top Grandmaster Protoss making it through to the playoffs from Russia. It is Rail. On Europe, he's pretty well known. He's always at the edge of like round of 8, round of 4. He's definitely capable of beating anyone, but you definitely don't expect him to beat everyone. He's one of those players. So, we're not ruling him out. Obviously, I'd say in almost every match that doesn't include the words Scarlet, Neeb, Cyril, or Raynor, or Maru. Okay, there's not a short list of people who Innovation definitely would struggle against. Maybe not Cyril, but but there's a single-digit number of people who you'd expect to be a favorite or even against Innovation. Rail, not one of them. But he definitely comes in with a different Protoss style. I haven't seen enough of Rail's games to really pin him as a certain style of Protoss, but I know he plays a little bit different. Much like, for example, the Chinese Protosses and Taiwanese Protosses, like, has their own style that is very different to what you see outside of that region. Will we see that only 1 or 2 gas into Mass Charge Lot? Will we see some sort of ridiculously tech-heavy rush? Will I open up the production tab to figure it out? It's a Stargate. 3 important questions. As Innovation, he did get the Reaper in. Oh wait, that was an SCV. I am not a smart man. He got the SCV and he hasn't sent the Reaper in yet. Rail was actually holding his probes on the high ground until he had a unit to block the Reaper. The positioning of the pylon and gate actually blocked the Reaper from the little Reaper cliff coming up here. Depth gonna chase down the Reaper. So what comes out of the Stargate first? It's gotta be an Oracle, right? Come on, you had... like, why did you commit? Why did you commit? I wanted to be right. But it is Phoenixes, which is definitely different. Stargate has kind of lost some of its luster because of the changes to the Cyclone, back to its old fragile but long-range self. Overall, Terran has pretty solid options for dealing with early Stargate, which is why it's kind of dropped off in popularity, as opposed to just getting a slightly cheaper and safer Robo. But he's building up Phoenixes and he's not showing them. Rail right now, did he probe scout? He did not probe scout. He's seen nothing. But he saw the Reaper, which almost always indicates it's a Reaper expand. You rarely get a Reaper if you're doing it all in, unless you're following it up with more or proxying it. Right now, Innovation is building that Cyclone. He's getting a Viking. But the 3rd Phoenix is out, and at this point, Rail, he's hidden for now. He's waiting. He wants a drop to come in, maybe even like a Liberator or something. He's waiting for it. He knows the timings. There's nothing coming, unless the Viking actually goes across the map. Innovation, I don't know what he's expecting. He saw 2 Adepts, which is sometimes a bit of a giveaway. More than 1 Adept is about the closest you get to being a Tell without being anywhere close to a Tell that you're going Stargate. Because they're lighter on the gas, that means you're going tech-heavy. Amon, that Viking, trying to get in Amon's personal space. Amon does not appreciate that, so we'll have an air blocker to keep him out. But here come 5 Phoenixes. Down goes the Viking easily. What is the response? Already off to an interesting start. There's plenty of Marines here, but as long as there are no Widowmines, and there are not, Rail doesn't know that, but there are no Widowmines. That's great commentary. But one Phoenix does get picked off with the added Cyclone damage. He gets a good scout. The fact that there's a Cyclone and this many Marines already gives away a lot of Innovation's build. Obviously, there's many barracks coming up. He sees them switching up. Oh, if he could get the Phoenix. I mean, not the Raven. The Raven. Well, Innovation could get Phoenixes, but the damage is being done here. If he's able to get a Cyclone or Raven alongside this, gets a second Phoenix. Wasn't quite enough energy for lift, I don't think. But still, I'd say this is a pretty solid trade here for Rail. Especially not just because of the sheer damage he's doing, but because he gets to dictate the pace of the game now. Innovation, if he moves out, it's a risk, because investing in turrets is expensive. If he wants to build turrets, it's building each turret as well as the time it takes for the SCV to build. On top of the fact that doesn't actually stop Phoenixes from coming in and picking things up if they're well microed. So I'm glad I took the time to mention Chinese Protoss at the beginning of this game, because it looks like Rail taking some inspiration from them. A very common style, especially in Heart of the Swarm, for especially Protoss from that region. Phoenix Colossus. I mean, on paper, you got everything you need, right? You got Phoenixes for anti-air and for controlling drops and things like that. And then you got Colossi, which are your powerful unit to back them up to actually deal with the ground army. Now, in practicality, there's a lot of options for Terran to deal with that. But since Rail blindsided Innovation, he's been pinned in his base for so long that there might be the opportunity. How many Colossi are out right now? We got one Colossus. He's going to get a second. Extended Thermal Lance. Now, tanks are going to make this a little bit dicier to defend. It's pretty obvious Innovation. He should be moving out in about 20 seconds. As these medevacs finish, as stim and combat shields finish up, he can't just sit back. He knows that. Rail's actually taking a fourth, the greedy devil. He's really using the map control and vision that these Phoenixes give him. Double forges on the way. That is the one thing. Oh my god, the Marine made it all the way to the main. He sees the Robo Bay and the forges and gets a probe. I love that Innovation was microing that Marine. So Innovation with that single Marine sees everything he needs to know. He knows that Rail is not going all in. He knows he's going more than likely Colossus. And he knows there's, well, the army isn't across the map either. So the forges indicate, obviously, he wants to tech up and sit defensive. So Innovation can work around that. He can play with that information. Rail has zoned out Innovation, but he will be zoned no longer. That is a sizable army moving out. Innovation, definitely one of the most... He's a very decisive player, and that's what's given him pretty great success in the past. No matter what, even if the timing doesn't seem like a great idea or doesn't seem like it's going to work out, he's going for it. He's going in. Sometimes that works against him because, once again, not as innovative as some other players, ironically. Some Marines split off to try to spot out the Phoenixes. It looks like Innovation has decided, I can't fight in the early mid-game. He's going to try to get as close to max out as possible. Are we going to see another starport? This is one of the few opportunities where we could actually see the boys pulled as well if he goes heavy into Vikings, but it doesn't look like that is the case. There should be another commitment to tech here for Innovation. Does he add on more starports? Starports make the most sense. He has enough tanks that he shouldn't be threatened on the ground. Liberator's on the way. This should be a starport here for range. Not a bad option. Phoenixes don't kill Liberators particularly quick. Now, Innovation, he has not seen the fourth base. He saw the forges, he saw the Robo Bay, but he hasn't seen the fourth base. He might not realize Rail is on such a strong economy. This many probes. But here's the army. He's going to pick up some of it. Gets one Phoenix, but Innovation driven back. More pickups. Those units cannot retreat. How many tanks? Half a dozen. Depots coming up to make it that much harder to close the distance, especially with charge lots. Are we going to get... Ranged Liberators are definitely the ticket here. Ranged Liberators give Innovation the power to both pressure and attack outright as well as harass. Phoenixes can't be everywhere at once. He upgrades innovation, getting his +2, +1 armor behind. Rail is still sitting on a forward position, and that is important. He has warp in rounds, he has a great economy. If you have a good economy, and you have an army you know you can fight, as well as this much map vision, there's no reason not to be here. The best defense is a good offense, because you know your opponent can't really counterattack you. So why let them get any free space on the map? The rocks are taken down, freeing up some space there. Innovation gonna reassemble his army to defend the third. Rail is moving in, he's maxed out, he's got money in the bank. Will we see pickups? Remember, there's a Raven in the mix. Anti-armor missile, interference matrix. Some liberators now. Storm is on. The way Rail is taking up to everything. Double Stargate and a fleet beacon. Remember, he already had the one that built the Phoenixes. It looks like he's gonna switch tactics here. The char slot warp. Okay, I guess he's using the tank fire to actually. He's not even trying to attack. He's just trying to use the tanks. It worked. 5 SCVs go down. Advanced ballistics are on the way. That means a fusion core is done. 3 more command centers for innovation. Rail has. I don't know if this is innovation's choice, like first choice. I doubt it. But he's figured out, or he's decided that the best play, sit back, max out, get the best army composition, and slowly expand. And he might be right, because Phoenixes in a maxed out army just die. There's a lot of deadweight supply in Rail's army right now. Stalkers and Zealots just don't do as well as Immortals and Colossi and Archons. So Rail is trying to find a way to shave off his mediocre supply and replace it with something worth having. Innovation, on the other hand, something similar, but really he's just, oh my god, that tank, literal line. Phoenix is looking for something, but the time for Phoenixes to do big damage has mostly passed. They'll get an SCV here, SCV there, maybe a Marine. Oh, that is a big army. Whoa, Innovation, a little out of position, slow on reacting. The Phoenix is doing a good job with the distraction. Liberator siege up. Almost too slow for Innovation, but the Liberators get there just in time to keep too many volleys from hitting the Nexus, or Command Center, that's what they call them. Just so patient with this game. Rail has been poking and prodding for a while now. Ever since the Phoenixes came out, he's been doing it more and more. If he wait, is that on purpose? Yeah, he's done. He's had enough of these silly Zealots. He needs Archons or Templar. That's the easiest way to do it. Just get rid of them right there. A sacrifice for ire. That's a lot of Liberators. Year 0, a map you can cut in half pretty easily, and we're nearly there. Rail has most of the left half of the map. Innovation is slowly expanding to his side. Liberators sieging up. A beautiful storm from Rail. Now, not too much headway. Some Vikings being produced. These 3 Tempests, I believe, do they have +1 air? They do, which means it takes 6 hits to kill a Liberator if they don't have armor. If they all focus. Meaning 2 volleys. A small bio army to the south. Liberator sieging up across the board. That is a do not pass zone, as long as that many... over 4 Liberators becomes a fight you can't really take unless you have to. They just don't... You just can't kill them fast enough. The Tempests continue to kite back. Innovation taking the bottom right. 6 Vikings at a time now. The Marines. Oh, the bio army, actually, Rail moving in with his main army. Innovation forcing the issue. There is no recall yet. He has it available. Trying to move towards the third. Does he actually go to the south where Innovation has expanded? Oh! Tempest and Templar being taken out. Did he lose a prism with this? He's lost a prism, so lost some form of mobility. Looks like there were enough warp-ins here from Rail. It wasn't a recall, right? It was a recall. He recalled some of his army. 3-3 is on the way. 3-3 already done for Rail. 3-3 coming up for Innovation. And it looks like he won't be stopped before it finishes. But Rail blinks up. Innovation has plenty of bio there to shoot down the Stalkers. Still a Raven with full energy. I don't know if Innovation has forgotten about it or he's just waiting for his opportunity. Maybe a little bit of both. Still just so patient. Rail has 5,500, 2,300 in the bank. But Innovation has the late-game Terran army. Liberators, Ghosts. Oh, beautiful feedbacks! Well done by Rail. Negates those Ghosts before they can really get maybe one EMP, I'm not sure. The ground army's moving up. Liberators will work their way back. Vikings moving in. Storms could be a big factor here. EMPs will ward back the army for now. Tough to move back and forth around this high ground. Still many Liberators. Tanks on the field. The Colossi and Tempest don't care nearly as much about the cliff. Other Templar in the back. EMPs are thrown out, but do not land on the Templar. Innovation has driven back Rail for now, but Rail has a huge economic advantage. He's got a lot of money in the bank. Blinking forward. Down goes the Raven. Gets one big anti-armor missile. Innovation has to use this opportunity. He's got 20 seconds to safely establish or maybe try to jump the army. Most of the army is Cheeto-dusted right now. That is the technical term, of course. The Storms are going to ward him back. Oh, God. The long-range Liberators. Innovation being ground down. Every unit he builds is eventually being taken out, and he has to replace it immediately. More Vikings. How many command centers? Innovation has 6 orbitals, 2 command centers, 2 planet. He's got double-digit command centers right now. Sensor tower taken out. The assault on the northern base begins. The map pretty much cut in half, but Rayo keeps stepping over the front line. If this were direct strike, he would be way ahead economically. But this is not direct strike, but he is way ahead economically. That is a lot of the time an indicator, though. Simply, if you are able to stand on your opponent's side of the map, that means you can replace your units at least as quickly, if not more so. Innovation trying to move forward. The Vikings finding an opportunity, getting another Colossus. There's a bio army on the other side. The Observer has been spotting all this, giving Rail a lot of information as to when he needs to move one way or the other. Tempest looking for an opportunity. That SCV getting a lot of hazard pay for this one. He will survive the encounter and maybe actually finish the command center. Not that Innovation needs more. EMP. Innovation on the chase. Storms will ward him back for now. The Vikings looking for an opportunity. Rail, he's lost 4,000 more resources, but he's been mining so much more. If the map mines out, that could be a massive struggle. But we're a long way from that. Innovation still has some bio units on the other side. Rail looking for weakness. He's banking on winning the war of attrition, but if Innovation is continuing to be this cost-effective, he's going to lose it eventually. The gas bank has dwindled a little. The Vikings are on the chase. There's not that much Storm in this army, 2 or 3 left. EMPs can change that, of course. The bio army will force Rail off the center line of the map and drag him back a little bit. Will Innovation jump forward to take advantage of the space? He's not able to. Just get some breathing room. Builds a planetary. The Tempest getting a little ahead of themselves. The Templar in the back. Another Tempest goes down. Still a single Marauder dragging things back. The Liberator's gonna siege up. The Vikings barely getting out of the storm. Another snipe. How many Tempests have died? 18! 18 Tempests. Wow. Compared to how many? Only 13 Vikings. So that's how you know he's doing a good job. Innovation still working around. He's starting to build a bank of his own. The Tempest ignored for a little bit. Caught on the high ground, and 2 more taken out. A beautiful storm catches many of the Vikings. Rail, the scans catching everything here. Some of the Ghosts caught out, but EMPs blanket the army. Is there an EMP in the back? The Disruptor, 2 forms of splash damage here. Oh, the tanks! So much damage. Some more gateway units trying to come in. Innovation with an incredibly strong push forward. Rail's going to try to cut off the reinforcements. He's going to somewhat try to base trade a Terran. Is it worth the risk? There's only a handful of Tempests left here. This base is gone, but Rail has money in the bank. He can fund this for a while yet. Does Innovation go forward or does it go back? Looks like he's looking for a sandwich here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Disruptor shots going out. The Liberator's not doing enough. Some of the ghosts caught. Still a lot of money in the bank. Another Tempest coming up. Caught in translation. Well, intercepted, rather. Still, the double siege up happening, but Innovation's forces are being whittled down. The tank's on siege. The Liberator's on siege. The ghosts are mostly, if not all, out of energy. Innovation is exposed. Rail finally might have found his opportunity to ground down Innovation. He doesn't have the units he needs. The Vikings are coming up. They're looking for Tempest. They should be looking for the Colossi as well. But Rail's army. Innovation still has a lot of army supply. He was building it up back at his base. Rail not deciding to isolate and kill Innovation's army, instead jumping on the reinforcements and the economy. This gives Innovation a little bit more time to rebuild, but he doesn't have that much money to do so. Down goes the base to the south. Single-range Liberator gonna drive things back for now. Looks like he's gonna try to smash. He comes in from the back. The Liberator siege up. They're down for the count. The Medevac's not nearly enough. They'll get out of here. The Bio Army will not. Innovation take the part. He stepped a little too far, and Rail slapped him away. He's struggling to put 200 supply on the field while Rail is constantly maxed. Oh, the Planetary and Liberators are going to help out a little. There is still a Disruptor in the mix. Good spell casting so far from both sides. Innovation desperately trying to hold on. There's no Planetaries at the back. He's lost all his tanks. That means the Blinkstalkers have a lot more free reign. But Disruptor coming in. Doesn't even matter at this point. Innovation's losing so much supply. The Vikings will clear out everything in the sky, but will be forced to retreat. They're okay on the ground against this army. There's nothing left in the air to shoot at. Rail is pushing forward. He's breaking through the depots. Innovation doesn't really need him. He's dropping in supply, but he still has a lot to work with. The Disruptor about to recharge. Some Tempest at the back. The Disruptor shot comes in. Takes a Viking and a Marauder with it. Innovation needs to try to smash this army. There's no storm on these Templar yet, but there will be in a few seconds. Those storms could seal the deal. Rail has punched straight through into the center. Can he hold this position? He's backing off a little bit to get some more splash damage. That might be what he needs to wash over Innovation. The Tempest still working their way back. Innovation no longer can move freely between his bases. Looking for EMPs is Inno. Rail still has the Disruptors to drive back the Ghosts. Innovation losing SCVs. The Orbitals are exposed. This Planetary not even at full HP. The army's moving down. Gonna save the third for now. But what's left? A Disruptor shot goes in. Gonna hit SCVs. And may free up an opportunity. Innovation really needs, like, this is his only really strongly mining base here. The top base has been mining, but it's almost mined out. He's picking them apart, just moving around, bullying him wherever he has the units to do so. More EMPs come through. They don't hit the Templar. The Tempest count is growing again. Rail has rebuilt. He's at 200 supply. Innovation is dipping, and he's running out of money. This back Planetary cannot fall. Disruptor shots come out. It will. Here comes Innovation. He has to try to make something. Massive Disruptor hit! Takes all the wind that was left in his sails right out of him. That might be the finishing blow. Rail has been pressing the issue. He's held his ground for most of the game. Innovation never was able to step and strike back. The Liberator's doing pretty well, but Rail smells blood in the water. Innovation taps out. GG. Rail actually takes out the Korean Terran. With that Phoenix Colossus style to open it up. The amount of pressure he was able to put on was impressive, to say the least. Well executed. A lot of the time, the issue the players can have playing that style is keeping it together. Simply, like, both sides have a really tough time controlling it's you got to go to Hogwarts to control all those spellcasters. So yeah, that I don't want to stumble over that joke. It sounds so bad. Anyways, but Rail was able to keep the pressure on, and Innovation eventually broke. I trusted that Innovation... I didn't know who was going to win that game in WESG. I trusted that Innovation would break out, but he just didn't. He tried. He got very close. It looked like Rail was being a little too cost-ineffective. But, not quite. Rail eventually smashed his army. But if you liked that little bit of a different style, make sure to like this video if you're on Twitch. Just type a Kappa in the chat. Subscribe. Ring the bell. Did you know that for 1 like, you can save 1 YouTube creator for 1 minute? Hashtag blessed.